I remember being in the seventh grade, and I went to one of my teachers and I asked them about Black history. Since they wanted us to do an assignment, did they have any information? And she took me to a little book stand there, and it was like a half of a shelf. And she said, well, this is everything you need to know. And I looked at my Caucasian teacher, and I thought within myself, you're out of your right mind. Right then and there, I made it a major portion of my life to study and to research. So what did I do? I went to my local library and I began to read and study and research for myself. From that day to this, I've been a researcher. That's why I wear reading glasses. By the time I graduated from high school, I had read every book in our library. It was called the Queen Memorial Library, right there in South Philadelphia on Point Breeze Avenue. Some people say, well, I don't believe it. I don't care if you don't believe it. I know it's true because I did it. It's like I have read my Bible 300 plus times before I graduated from high school. You know the scripture says, study. To what? Show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needs not to be ashamed. I'm Tyrone Bowman. This is Tyrone Bowman Tonight. It was the 4th of July, 1776, that the Declaration of Independence was signed in the Congress. Now, let me quote from it. Quote, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and do assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal to station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impelled them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Close quote. I'm going to leave it right there. The topic of discussion is going to be a two-part video. I'm going to talk about the great abolitionist, orator, and writer, and former slave, Frederick Douglass. On the 5th of July, he gave a blistering and soaring speech entitled, What to the Slave is the 4th of July. And Douglass delivered this speech at the Ladies Anti-Slave Society in Rochester, New York on July 5th, 1852. Concerning the day our nation celebrates its freedom, he called out the hypocrisy of continuing to tolerate slavery. So I'm going to be reading portions of a transcript. So the transcript of this speech is often studied by high school students in addition to his biographies. And I found this information on AmericanLiterature.com. You can go there and check it out for yourself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read the speech in his own words, and then I'll come back with a follow-up analysis video, and we'll break it down. Does that sound pretty good to you? Okay, let's get started. Quote, fellow citizens, pardon me and allow me to ask why I am called upon to speak here today. What have I or those I represent to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and of natural justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us? And am I therefore called upon to bring our humble offering to the national altar and to confess the benefits and express devout gratitude for the blessings resulting from your independence to us? Would to God, both for your sakes and ours, that an affirmative answer could be truthfully returned to these questions. Then would my task be light and my burden easy and delightful. For who is there so cold that a nation's sympathy could not warm him? Who so obdurate and dead to the claims of gratitude that would not thankfully acknowledge such priceless benefits? Who so stolid and selfish that would not give his voice to swell the hallelujahs of a nation's jubilee when the chains of servitude had been torn from his limbs? Am I not that man in a case like that? The dumb might eloquently speak, the lame man leap as in heart. But such is not the state of the case. I say it with a sad sense of disparity between us. I am not included with the pale of this glorious anniversary. Your high independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between us. The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. The 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. To drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhumane mockery and sacrilegious irony. Do you mean, citizens, to mock me by asking me to speak today? If so, there is a parallel to your conduct, and let me warn you that it is dangerous to copy the example of a nation, Babylon, whose crimes, towering up to heaven, were thrown down by the breath of the Almighty, burying that nation in irrevocable ruin. Fellow citizens, above your national tumultuous joy, I hear the mournful wail of millions whose chains heavy and grievous yesterday or today rendered more intolerable by the jubilant shouts that reach them. If I do forget, if I do not remember those bleeding children of sorrow this day, may my right hand forget her cunning and my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. To forget them, to pass lightly over their wrongs, and to crime in with the popular theme would be treason and most scandalous and shocking, and would make me a reproach before God and the world. My subject then, fellow citizens, is American slavery. I shall see this day and its popular characteristics from the slave's point of view, standing here identified with the American bondman. Making his wrongs mine, I do not hesitate to declare with all my soul that the character and conduct of this nation never looked blacker to me than on the 4th of July. Whether we turn to the declarations of the past or to the professions of the present, the conduct of the nation seemed equally hideous and revolting. America is false to the past, false to the present, and solemnly binds herself to the false to the future. Standing with God and the crushed and bleeding slave on this occasion, I will, in the name of humanity, which is outraged, in the name of liberty, which is fettered in the name of the Constitution and the Bible, which are disregarded and trampled upon, dare to call in question and to denounce, with all the emphasis I can command, everything that serves to perpetuate slavery, the great sin and shame of America. I will not equivocate. I will not excuse. I will use the severest language I can command, and yet not one word shall escape me, that any man whose judgment is not blinded by prejudice, or who is not at heart a slaveholder, shall not confess to be right and just. Close quote. This video continues. Never surrender, never quit.